All right, so this is Life After Duty. I'm probably jumping or getting myself ahead, but this is a story that I want to share. It is a story, and it deals with the shit show that happens at tech school. So, I will talk about my first tech school, which is DLI Defense Language Institute, located in Monterey, California. Um, and I survived it. I fucking survived that school. I my life was so hard. So the language that I was assigned to when I got there was Mandarin, Chinese. Um, yeah, so here we go. So with Mandarin Chinese, basic information is that it is one of the longest tech school in the Air Force. It is about a year and a half long. It can be longer, pending on different aspects of it, but for majority of it, it's going to be a year and a half if you make it to the end. Heavy emphasis on that if. Um, and this is a story coming from me, people like me. So if you look like me, and if you are around the age group that I was at when I enlisted and went to DLI, heed this as my fucking warning. Heed this as I tell you to what to watch out for. And strongly, strongly, strongly make a decision on what it is that you want to gain and lose. Because every gain that you have in the Air Force and the military, you are bound to lose a lot. So, here's the first lesson. So, I survived it, meaning that my build was super bad. So, I am obviously female. I'm Asian. I'm Korean. I have a degree, a bachelor's degree prior to military. I studied linguistics and anthropology, so it's the real linguistics, not this military crap linguistics. It is they call it crypto linguistics, but it's shit. If they if any of the DLI people come out and say I'm a linguist without a proper 4-year college, they're just bullshit. Don't listen to them. Tell them to go to a school. Um, but I do have a backing. I did graduate with double degree, so I can have. Well, I guess I can say I have the rights and the credits to talk about actual linguistics fields, and about anthropology, which is study of people. And if you happen to be in the same situation that I was in, where you have someone like myself, and at the start of your class lesson, you have two sister class students who also happen to be Korean students learning Chinese Mandarin. So, with that said, those two Korean students that were in my sister classes, they had prior knowledge in Chinese. I'm not exactly sure when they learned it, um, but most likely, given their age at that time, they most likely learned it before the critical time period was over. So linguistically speaking, the real linguist speaking, there's a period called critical time or critical period where a child or a person is able to learn language as a native like speaker or native learners, um, and that is definitely different from like adult learners. Like the way you learn new languages are different from when you learn it before your critical time period is over, cut off, to when you're adult. Um, Basically, it means you either learn it like a native or you learn it through the books. So with these two students, I knew they had prior knowledge because we all started the class together at the same time, even though they were my sister class, and we talked. And from what I received and understood, they both had good knowledge in Chinese. For myself, the only thing I had closest to actual Chinese language that I can relate to is, being Korean bilingual in Korean English. And I did take a Japanese class, a college level Japanese class, almost a decade ago before I started this class. So that tells you what my age is around the time I started this shit. So let me see. Let me look at my notes. So here's the thing. Because I know how language is acquired and how you learn a language, I knew from the get-go where my struggle points are. I knew I was gonna need help. And I was very, 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 very vocal about asking for help. To the point where as soon as we started the first class, first day lesson, by the end of that week, I think it was by Wednesday, I've asked the teachers to let them know, hey, I need more help. Even though we were just learning pinyin, the Chinese characters, sounds, I legit straight up went, I'm like, I need help because I'm having difficulty differentiating it, the sound, the tones. And this was their response. Oh, we're just into week 1. You'll be fine. You'll get better as time goes on. So, as a student going to a teacher asking for help, I was shunned away. They told me, no, fuck yourself. I was like, okay. And that happened throughout my entire time there. Not a fun year and a half. Just think about it. Okay. But then the other fun part is the other fun part about that shit was that there's the thing, and the thing is called the chopping list. They will deny it. The Chinese schoolhouse will deny it. DLI will deny it. But amongst the staff and the student, we all know there is a thing. It is talked about. It is heard, but never written down. At least they don't write it down, so it doesn't leave an evidence trail on their behalf to say that actually happened. So, Chinese school. Here's a setup. So you have about a year and a half long of this fucking program. Every single day is all Chinese in and out. It is 3 semesters long. Per class, you have 4 instructors assigned. By classroom scale, student scale, I guess. At mine was, I think, maybe like 16, 17 students when we first started. So that meant that we basically split the class in half, and with the 4 teachers, it was a rotating hourly schedule. So we'll get different teacher every hour and repeat some certain hours. But that's the basic layout of the schoolhouse, I guess, lesson curriculum, the volume of teacher to student ratio. So out of the 4 instructors, you have one that is the head teacher. Basically, for our class, here's the fun begin. Our head teacher, there were some issues that the students had. So 17 body of student rising up talking about one specific teacher, which happened to be the head teacher, complaining, right? Basically, we raised concern, and this Chinese schoolhouse at that time, because it was, a large group of teachers, not onesie twosie students saying, oh, I don't like this person. They removed our head teacher within the first semester, before the first semester was over, and we got a replacement. We got a different head teacher. We initially were all kind of happy that we got a new instructor coming in, because the one that we had, right, personal biases here, we thought that he was like bored with us, basically. Teaching wise, it was just monotonous, and it was just hard to like learn from this instructor. That was why we kind of raised the concern. And the rumors that we were hearing with the new instructor that was coming in, we heard that this person was very enthusiastic about it, so that was a plus for us. So we were like, okay, we might be actually be more engaging learning, or be more taught in an engaging manner. So that, we thought it was pretty cool. But you know, the saying of grass is greener on the other side. Yeah, nah, this teacher was also terrible. Talking about terrible, yeah. Out of the 4 instructors, 3 of them, we, or at this time, I'll change it to I. Out of the 4, 3 of them did not like couple students, meaning that they did not want us to successfully pass the Chinese schoolhouse, because in Asian culture there is a term called saving face, and it's a huge thing. And once again, coming from my anthropology background and my linguistics background, saving face is a huge cultural thing within the Asian community. And for these instructors, oh, so fucking greedy. They want to show themselves as being really spectacular teachers, basically, amongst the other Chinese schoolhouse teachers. Because the classroom that graduated before we joined, they basically came and said, oh yeah, all of our students passed. So they had a high standard. But that high standard was achievable because they got rid of the students that were not making it. Not making it in terms of not able to pass the minimum grade that the Chinese schoolhouse apply, for every quiz, no, for the exams and tests. So with that said, the first 4 weeks, it's a within the first 4 weeks, it's a good, I guess, data that they are able to collect to determine which students will make it to the end of the course versus students who will not. And that chopping list came super fast. So me coming from the background of knowing people, learning about people, and I also happen to have experience in teaching foreign language as a second, Korean as a second language to kids. I know what to look for in students that you see that are struggling, and I was able to basically do the same thing that they were doing. And unfortunately, like, the list that I had was the same list that they had, and as weeks, days go on and tests and exams rolled in, I saw my classmates getting removed, kicked out of the school program. And it was a shit show. How? How is it a shit show, you ask? Well, the shit show happens because, once again, the saving face idea, and because they want to brag that their students passed. So there's this image, or I guess this event that happened while I was at Chinese schoolhouse, or with my class, is that, like, every day, 99% of the time, every day, there is a Chinese character quiz in the morning, the first thing in the morning. And for our classroom, we usually have students showing up like 30 minutes prior to the actual class start. I happen to be there before the instructors come and open the door, so like about 45 to an hour before the actual class starts, so that I can just study quiet and peace. And then as the students rolled in, we will study together. We will do Pleco app. So huge shout out to Pleco app developers, so PLECO. If you are a Chinese learner for, I guess, whether it be for high school, college, or whatever, that app is a lifesaver. And I can say that app is most likely a better teacher than the teacher that's actually teaching at the Chinese schoolhouse. Because at the end of the day, these teachers, they just want you to memorize shit, not actually learn the concepts. So here's the event. It was just it's just like the same morning every day that we go and walk into. We come in before the instructors walk in. We study as a class, we study as individual, we study with team, with groups, one-on-one, with partners, people sitting next to you, whatever's the scenario. Bottom line is we study with all of our notes in front of us, with the Pleco app going on, with the whiteboard going on, and we just study. And as the instructors come in, the common courtesy is to put all your shit away, right? Put your notes away, put your phone away, get your pencil and eraser out. So this one particular student had a shit ton of textbook, notebook, classwork, class notebook, everything all in one corner of the student's desk. And when the teacher walked in, as we were putting all of our shit away, this one student that day, because they were studying till the last minute, remove a pile of stuff, put the notes, and then put the pile back on top. So basically what I'm saying is the character notes for that day's quiz was sandwiched between a whole bunch of pile of shit. And you can't see it. Like literally you can't really peek at it, because like that student was sitting the closest to the instructor, so it's like 100%, 0% of like enabled to cheat. So regardless, that happens. The instructor passes out the quiz to all the students, and we start. And as I'm finishing it up, because it's so fresh in my memory, I finished that as fast as I can, and I was done. And then I look up, and that teacher, that instructor, walks over to that student's desk, goes to his pile of shit, of things that was there, pulls out that note that that student was studying, and she just basically said, "Oh, you're cheating. Stop the quiz." Mind blown, isn't it? So guess where that student was? That student was on that chopping list. And the crazy part about the chopping list, each teacher, except for one in particular, were targeting the freaking students. So, bottom line, that student was called out for cheating, and was eventually removed from the program. But here's the thing. At that time, when that quiz was happening, there were 3 people to my left, 3 people to my right. Meaning there were 7 students all together taking the damn fucking quiz. And we wrote rebuttals saying this student did not cheat. Like, for me, I saw the actual thing happen with my damn fucking 2 eyes as I saw the teacher pull the notebook out saying, "Hey, you're cheating." I wrote the rebuttal. I wrote documents to say, hey, this student did not cheat. But here's the first lesson. Or I guess, I don't know, number 3. The corrupt system within the military starts at every single fucking level that there are. No matter how many personal statements we got, no matter people who actually, vouch for this student, they didn't give two fuck. Like, the schoolhouse did not care. The DLI, the military side of the department, did not fucking care either. Oh yeah. So by the way, at DLI, it's split into two kind of branch of chain of custody. You got the schoolhouse custody, and then you have the military side of the custody. And we reached out to both, saying this student did not cheat. But they both didn't give a fuck. And that's because they said it doesn't matter, the teacher caught him cheating. Even though I was the fucking primary witness to this shit show happening, saying that did not happen, they were like, no, the teacher wrote it, so they must be right, and you're wrong. And that event, it's so fucking vivid in my memory. Like, it's like, no matter what I do, I can't get rid of that. It's so fucking terrible. Because what just happened in that scenario is that this fucking teacher ruined this person's life in the military career. Because this person will now have a record saying, removed from this program, removed from schoolhouse, removed from this job career field because of cheating. So that was one student's experience, right? But let me tell you about mine. Mine was a shit storm. Like, if that was a shit show, mine was a shit storm in the middle of the fucking hurricane eye happening all at once. Because of one fucking incident. And I don't even know if it should be called an incident. You tell me what you think it's supposed to be. But here it goes. Just like another day, right? The morning comes, Chinese character quiz starts, and before the quiz start, we're all there, being a good students, studying our pleco away, trying to memorize shit the last minute, and everything. And pleco, the phone goes into your hand, and I'm studying. Oh, the teacher walked in. Oh, okay, I need to put it away now. So I'm like, okay. The chair that I was in was a swivel chair, so I literally just turned, opened my backpack, shoved my phone inside my backpack, and then turned back. And the teacher passed out the quiz, and we all took the quiz. And I think it's within that day or the following day, I get a message saying, Airman Kim, you need to go to the Chinese schoolhouse supervisor's office, basically the principal's office. I was like, okay. I had zero idea what the hell I was being called for, so I'm like, okay, let me go see what they want. So I go there, and then this principal, the supervisor, goes, Airman Kim, do you know why you're here? I'm like, no sir, I have no idea why I was called here. And he's like, well, you're getting reprimanded. I was like, excuse me? May I ask for what reason? And he's like, and he gave me the bottom line, right? Or he gave me the entire fucking story, but the bottom line is, the instructor that was passing out the quiz that day when I had my phone on my hand, going through pleco, putting it away, felt threatened by me because I threw my phone into, I threw my phone. I was like, are you serious? He's like, that's what your instructor wrote. You're being reprimanded. You can agree or disagree and sign. And you have an option to write a rebuttal if you like. Here's another lesson. If they tell you to sign, and if they say there is a agree or disagree, it's 100% fucking trap. It doesn't matter what you do, because you can. So you have three options. First option, you can agree with the content that they wrote and say, yes, that was true. Sign. Option number two, you can disagree and sign. Option number three, you can do nothing, but the supervisor will sign. And it gets filed either way. And in my case, I fucking disagree and signed, because that did not happen. Because I know what I did. Like, hello, I physically did the movement. So I asked, I'm like, can I get this document sent to me so I can type it and send it back? And this guy, he's like, no, you have to write it here right now. And I was like, it's gonna take a while for me to write back, write everything rebuttal wise. And he's like, it's alright, I'll be here. So right away. So after I reread the reprimand letter, I was like, okay, I'm gonna start writing. So I start typing away. So like I said, when I was properly educated with people holding PhDs and actually teaching their career field, who are, you know, actual SME, the SME of the fields, I learned how to type. I learned how to write. I learned how to write fucking paper after paper after paper, detail after detail, having, you know, the basic standards of your evidence and why. Intro, evidence, why. And that's literally what I did. For every single bullshit that was written on my reprimand letter, I wrote, if so, for example, the instructor wrote, Erin Kim threw her phone on the table. And when I asked the class to put it away, she tossed it into her backpack. So I take the first part. Erin Kim threw the phone on the table. And I'm like, this did not happen. I had the phone literally on my hand because I was working on Pleco. So like literally that's how I took it, line by line, evidence by evidence, and I wrote. I typed my life away. And while I was typing, I got in trouble. They were saying, you are aggressively typing. This is not the correct behavior that you should exhibit. And I'm like, I'm just typing hella fast because there's so much to write, and I don't have a lot of time to write mentally, right? This is what I'm saying. So I told him, I'm just typing as fast as I can, sir. So I got in trouble again at that time because I was typing too fast. Why? Because that person perceived it as being aggressively typing. And I'm like, dude, I get it, you don't write, but I come from a writing profession. So I write and I type. Hell, I need to type fast, especially when I'm doing damn translations. Like, typing is your bread and butter at that time. So I'm used to it. And fun fact, just to make sure I wasn't crazy after that, I decided to do, you know, during our break time, our lunch break and whatnot, I had my classmate do like a typing speed game. I think if you could just Google type test or something like that, speed test, they give you like the font and you just do it, and it tells you at the end of the day like what your score and your speed and all that shit is. And not to brag, but to brag, I did type the fastest out of my entire classmates. So I'm sorry I can type without looking at the keyboard. I guess that was the big thing that he had against me. Anyway, that's the shit that you have to work with when you are too smart and you notice things a lot. Because I was on that chopping list, if I didn't mention it earlier. And the instructor that was responsible for trying to get me kicked out of the program was the head teacher. So how fun is that, right? And the unfortunate thing about that was, I think I still had about more than a semester and a half left of the program, so more than half of the program left when that incident took place. So it's been such a hard struggle just trying to overcome all this bullshit every single day. And that's the thing, it's a unnecessary stress that you have to bear every single time you go to class. It's a necessary stress that you have to think about every single time, every day you wake up in the morning, while you're trying to fucking study, memorize things, like your life depends on it. Like fucking Hamilton talks about it. Like, you write and write and write and write, like you're running out of time. Like literally, that's how it is, and that's how it was. But also knowing you have a big ass target behind the back, also knowing the person that's shooting at you is your head teacher. Like, that's the shit that you had to deal with just the schoolhouse of this, just the schoolhouse side of the field. And then there's also military's thing that you still had to upkeep, right? So there were, after schoolhouse shit's done, you go on do your military stuff. So your day is fucking full already. You study once you're done with everything, and you rinse and repeat while being under that dumbass pressure, while always walking on the fucking eggshell, because you are trying to just fucking survive the program, because you don't want to give up, because I did not want to give up, because I wanted to learn, because I wanted to be a good airman, because I wanted to be a good asset. So what happened to me, right? Because I said I'm going to be talking about my first tech school. Well, like I said in the beginning, I survived. I made it to the fucking end. I made it to all the way to the end, taking the DLPT, which is a Defense Language Proficiency Test. And if you know, you know. I scored 1+2. What that means is they test you on 3 aspects. First one is listening, reading, and oral conversation. So that means I got a 1+ in listening, 2 in reading, and 2 in conversation oral. If you think about it, 1+ to a 2 is, you don't think that's much, right? But it was a struggle just trying to get a 2 with reading and speech too. And like I said, out of my class, the 4 teachers I had, 3 of them were total trash, and one teacher was the only one. Like, that person was the sole reason why I made it to the fucking finish line. And even till this day, I'm forever grateful. All the experience, all the conversation, all the discussions that I had, the opportunity to spend extra hours with this instructor to learn Chinese, forever grateful. And I think that shows in the way that my score came out, because initially I couldn't even talk properly. But thanks to this instructor, I was able to go on a speech contest up in San Francisco, and within my, I guess, my ranking, or like my level of Chinese, I did come out first place, which was super amazing. Didn't expect that, because like I said, I was always getting the worst grades in my classroom, but somehow I'm still making it through. So yeah, coming at the end of the showcase, I was able to prove to myself and to thank the teacher, that one teacher, by getting a passing grade of a 2, and that showed it. And as for the reading, same thing. That one singular teacher took the time to teach me not to memorize, but to understand the concept of Chinese. And because of that, I was able to read and understand the passage, the text. The only difficulty was the listening, because listening, you get different people from different region of China. You hear different variation of the tones, male, female, young, old, all that fun jazz, right? Because it's so diverse, I wasn't able to learn it the way I was learning how to speak and the way I was learning how to read. But I'm still proud of that score. If I look back today, I'm like every single time I can understand Chinese, every single time I can read Chinese, speak it, I'm always thankful for that one teacher. But here's the ugly side of it, right? The other 3 instructors that I asked for help, they all fucking like, no, they're like, no, you're doing fine, you're doing fine. Basically, brush me off to the side, saying, we want you out of my program so we don't have to deal with you. Because I was getting that sign, I did eventually talk to like my peer-to-peer. So I talked to other students who were ahead of my class to ask them about, hey, tips and tricks, right? I had a roommate who was a Chinese student as well, but a couple months ahead of me, so I was able to get some assistance from her. I did reach out to other people to get some help, but unless those people actually know how you learn, it was kind of hard to teach. So coming back from a teaching background, as a teacher background, if you are a teacher, there are various levels. You can just teach the material, or you can teach the material to the students by adjusting your teaching style to your teaching style, right? Or the best type of teaching I think a teacher can have is understanding the student's learning style and having the ability to adjust that teaching style to accelerate that student's learning behavior. The peer-to-peer, they're not able to do that. And that is why that one singular teacher I am so thankful for, because that teacher was able to do that for me. So if you say, dude, why didn't you ask for help? Well, I did it. And that's what I had to go through every fucking day. So yeah, here's my takeaway and my DLI experience. If you happen to be someone like me or something similar like me in my background, I strongly suggest you to think about it again. Because you will be targeted, whether for good or bad. And it's a decision that you will have to make at the end of the day, right? I can only say, from my experience, is hard eject, avoid at all costs if you are someone like me going through DLI. It would have been a different story if I was a Korean student going into a Korean schoolhouse instead of Chinese schoolhouse. Then yeah, I think I would have passed with flying colors. But take my story as a cautionary tale, because you will lose a lot more than what you're given. And when the time comes, I'll try to talk about it more about that, but for now, that's what I'll say. You will lose a lot. If you are someone like me with my background. And for myself, this video I am posting, it's because I really wish someone like me with this kind of experience or similar of was there to share their story, so that either I can prepare myself or I can, you know, hopefully take in a different career route, because this was not it. Because at the end of the day, these Chinese schoolhouse instructors, they only care about making themselves look good. At this, like, even till today, we don't know if they get a bonus if all their students pass, but there must be some other incentives besides bragging rights, right? For the students that did end up getting kicked out of the program, like, my heart drops because of the teacher's failure. Because I come from a teaching background too. In that sense, I feel terrible, and definitely do not recommend. Do not recommend. I do not recommend. At this point, I honestly feel like they should all get fired. Terrible, terrible people. So yeah, I've learned the dark side of the politics, reflecting back now that I've went through some ugly ass political shitstorm while I was still in tech school, which I honestly believe students' main focus should have been just studying, not having to deal with this shit show. But c'est la vie. People, at the end of the day, they only care about themselves and their advancement. Even if they do say about, oh, it's about battle buddy, you know, the brother or sister next to you, to the right, to the left, to the front, to the back of you. The military that I went through, at least with the Air Force, it was a joke. Like, my career field people that I was with, it was a joke. I can probably just put one hand up and say, out of these people, outside of these people, everyone else would rather see your downfall. Everyone else are only there to make their career leap. So, unfortunately, I am going to end on the downside of this, but my next video, I'll talk about my second tech school and how that experience was hella different. But until then, guys, this was Life After Duty, and this is me signing off now. So, see you guys next time.